the music that happened to me is the spirituality that I live. Colonial Cousins, we were ready in 94 to release the album. Nobody released it. Somebody said, I want to be a lawyer. Somebody says, I want to be an
doctor, engineer.
Yeah, engineer, this, that. So came to Leslee. So Leslee, what do you want to be? And Leslie's so blank because, sir, I want to play the guitar. And the entire class laughed at me. I'm a one who follows my heart. I let my mind do the talking, and I'll pick up things what the mind has to say. But at the end of the day, and the heart will take you on its ups and downs.
Sure.
So you go with it.
Welcome to Kanacast, a series of conversations with residents and visitors to Kanha Shantivanam, the International Heartfulness Center near Hyderabad, Telangana, India. In this episode, I'm speaking to the legendary Indian composer, musician, and singer, Leslee Lewis. He has been creating music for over 30 years, including some of the most famous ad jingles, indie pop, film music, and Disney's first ever musical in India. He has won numerous awards and has performed at MTV Unplugged in London. He was at Kanha Shantivanam to perform at the Global Spirituality Mahotsav.
Thank you so much, Leslie ji, for being here, for taking time out.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you for stepping into the Kanha studio. You've got a hectic schedule. You just got here yesterday, and this evening you'll be performing.
Yes.
So I'm so glad that you took the time out and came.
I think life takes you on the journey, right? It's brought me here, so I'm here.
Thank you so much. So firstly, I'd like to ask you, this is the Global Spirituality Mahotsav.
Right.
You've performed at various venues across the world. What do you think makes this special, that it's Spirituality Mahotsav?
Yeah, I think, first of all, it's what I can see, it's probably the one of a kind thing where so many people from all over the world are coming together, including everybody from here, just for that same reason. So you see how much the world is connected when it comes to the heart. And I think that to actually perform for so many people who are only there for the heart, that is very hard to come by. So I think this is really, really special.
And in your own personal life, have you been on a spiritual journey? Have you had a spiritual inclination?
I can't say any specific. Yeah, I mean, there have been things, but I think the music that happened to me is the spirituality that I live. And I truly believe that if you make music your religion, you don't need any other religion, because you connect straight away your inner self to the universe. And strangely, in the 8th standard, I wrote a song called, the lyrics were, "This world is full of sin and hate, and no one seems to care about his neighbor. Life is just a misery." It's 8th standard kid writing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And years later, I'm writing a song like Krishna, "Come back as Jesus." I'm still in the same zone. And, hopefully we are in the right space so I can talk about it. But it hasn't happened. It's a spiritual album that I've been meaning to do for the last at least 11 years. All I have to do is pick up the guitar, sit in front of you and play and sing. I've owned a studio, I've done everything. It hasn't happened. It just won't happen because you sit down with the guitar and then it's not right.
Yeah.
But the moment you're not recording, it sounds fab. So the time will happen. So when that happens, I'm hoping, in a few years, if it will come together, because the universe will decide that. That's another spiritual landmark after Krishna. The way I see it is the next generation, how do I get them together and make them look inward towards India, not outward? Saying whether you're north, you're south, you're east, west, we are all connected by these different songs that have the same feeling.
Absolutely.
And it's a beautiful album. I hope it'll come out. And in there, I've written another song, talking to God, saying like, "Hey, do you really know me? Why do you ignore me?"
Hmm. Because that's a feeling we often get.
So many people are lost like that. No?
Yeah.
The inner self is always talking, and why am I lost? And why aren't you
me?
taking
Yeah.
care of me?
Yeah.
And I'm here. I'm doing my best. And still you're not taking care of me. So that album is a mix of spiritual songs of India, north, south, east, west, which I just do it on a guitar, and it just sounds beautifully different.
Wow.
And this last song, of course, I've composed one more song as my contribution to that album. But so it hasn't happened. I mean, it's the first time I'm really talking about it, but I no better place to talk about it than the people who might understand what I'm saying.
No, we all really look forward to that. And just as you were saying, that things take their time. And there's a time and place for everything. And, that old Temptation song, I think
I feel today is probably the starting of a new journey for me. On one side, I perform a lot of music. I do all my concerts. I'm performing. But I've always known that somewhere I'm going to do spiritual concerts. I've always known that. So maybe this is the first calling. I don't know.
Wow.
It's just my feeling.
That would be something.
Because even in my pop concerts, whatever, I do want to bring that Sufi element in, the spiritual element, whether you're doing a Damadam Maskalandar or whether you want to bring that, whether through Kavali, whether it's through whatever, you want to bring it in. So somewhere you kind of get the people together. So when it comes to something like this is something I've lived all my life. And that, spirituality that's what my music is about.
Absolutely. That's so beautiful. And it's, thank you for sharing that with us, because it's...
I mean, I'm saying I would never say this on other interviews, and because, people are busy, they're on the treadmill. So they don't see it. And I'm saying I'm talking about something that hasn't happened for 11 years now. And more than 11 years. And I've been, like, the songs got written, because even those spiritual songs, they're not just completely from start to finish. I've added my own thing to it and my own lyrics. And, I've got lyric writers to come in and write. So it's like a project, but it just won't record. It's as simple as I can pick up a guitar right now and record it. That's how simple that album is. But it doesn't happen. So you have to believe that the universe will make it happen. But I feel talking about it here, and maybe this is the first step towards those spiritual concerts that I might end up. One of the strains of the concerts that I do, one will be obviously the music that I do. Everybody, the commercial pop, musical, Colonial Cousins, all that stuff. And then just the spiritual side of me.
Absolutely.
So who knows?
It'll be beautiful. We'll all look forward to
this. I'm looking forward. Even to tonight, because it's really special to be coming and singing here. I mean, obviously for the president, but just so many people who are into it.
That's so true. It's a real convergence of people from all over the world.
And that's the magic.
It really is something. So you mentioned that your music is pretty much your spiritual journey.
Absolutely, yeah.
So where did this journey start? Where do you remember the first time you said that this is what I want to do?
So my mom and dad, my mom was a dancer. My dad was a dancer who became a choreographer, and then so he's done
lots of films and
all the Bollywood, Sholay, Sargam, Dawn, all of it. But and my dad always played tabla. So he's a good tabla player. So from that point, whether Zakir Bhai, Zakir Hussain, that community, Sitara Devi ji, and Gopi Krishan ji, all those, the legends, dance, because all the dancers needed music. So they had to hang out with the musicians.
Yes.
So Abba ji, whatever, all that, we lived next to each other. Our homes are close by. I mean, Zakir Bhai used to come and carry me as a young kid, I was called Leslee Mia. Yeah. So I've lived that zone. So my parents come from that kind of thing. But as I grew up, everybody said, Acha, you're going to become a dancer like your dad. And somewhere you don't want to you want to do something on your own. And because my dad was a tabla player and he loved electronics and, all this kind of stuff, in his head, I think he wanted to be a music director. But I don't think he would have cut it. He had his own angle to music. But because he was in love with electronics and stuff, I had synthesizers, the TR-808 drum machine, stuff, all that I had, he would just buy it and I'd just be playing like toys. So I got kind of introduced to electronic music right in the beginning of when electronic music started. So I'm the kid from the beginning of EDM.
Wow. There's that album that is oft quoted, no? Charan Preet Singh, 10 Ragas to a Disco Beat.
Charanjit Singh, yeah. No, he's a killer man. I mean, so Raju Singh.
He's Babla's father, right?
No, Raju Singh's father.
Raju Singh's father.
Yeah, so Raju Singh's dad. So I grew up with him. I mean, there are sessions I've played with him in the studio as a young, musician. But he being a senior guy, I watched him as a young kid. And Charanjit Singh is a legend in his own space. And he did this whole raga electro thing, and what he would do while everybody was in the studio and we'd be talking and somebody be Are kya hua? He had his headphones on and he'd be just twiddling, working
in his zone.
So in the between recording and rehearsal, any other time he had his headphones on. And when he did this album, and I was talking to his grandson Joshua, and he said, it's amazing that these German guys come from Germany looking for my granddad saying, hey, we want you to come and play at this rave party. And to have this 70-plus-year-old Sardar playing at a rave party in Europe is just like bizarre. So great because he did it so ahead of his time, and it's fab that somebody saw it and heard it and then actually pulled him up to actually come and perform live years later.
Yeah. And in fact, the recognition, now he's getting more recognition actually within India.
Yes.
Because earlier, in fact, the way I got to hear of him was also because a DJ was visiting from the US and he said, I want to find that vinyl,
Yes. Yeah. I mean, some, absolute classics have been made in India. Just the Indians haven't seen it.
Yeah.
It's when the Coca-Cola commercial was made and Tarsim came and made that commercial, they asked him to come from the outside.
Yes.
And you saw red chilies in a very different light.
Absolutely.
Yes, the red ball was there and
passion has a color.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
But the way he brought red chilies out, ki lal mirch, bro, and we've never seen lal mirch like that.
Yeah.
She's just from another perspective. And so because we all look at things from a certain given angle that we've been programmed to look at it like that, a few of us slip out of that dragnet and get lucky. But the rest all look at it till somebody comes and shows you another perspective.
So true.
So for me, getting into music more was like at school, I wanted to be a drummer. And so my dad said cool because my dad played tabla. Somewhere that groove factor's there in me, DNA-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, he ordered my drum kit, which was Charanjit Singh's brother's shop.
Wow.
Yeah. My first guitar, my first guitar came from the same Sardar flute.
Wow.
So I'm closely connected in that sense. The fact that I played with, watched Charanjit Singh as a young kid in the studio, watching him work, and then playing alongside him as one of the other session men, and then talking to his son. I mean, his son and me, Raju, we came in at the same time as young kids, wanting to get into the music industry. And then Raju's son talking to me about his grandfather, So, and then the guitar, my first guitar coming from their shop. They own that Sardar flute. So my drum kit got ordered because you couldn't buy it. Today, everybody's so lucky. They can walk into a store and just buy guitar strings.
Amazon. You can order from Amazon.
Yeah, you don't even have to go to a store.
Bajao.com.
Yeah, you don't even need to go to a store. Yeah. But it's all available. In that time, you have to make it. So, aapko drum kit chahiye, to hum bana lenge. Give the advance. So, my dad said, it's fine. So, they knew my dad. So, I said, okay, we'll make it. And, then it got ready. And I remember that day, me, the drummer at heart, waiting for that drum kit to arrive. And my dad had to go for a shooting. And shooting is like the most important thing because everybody's waiting. You can't wait. And that guy calls up and says, drum kit is ready. Come and collect it. My dad says, look, I can't come. Can you just send it? And I'll pay for it. He said, I have nobody to send it. So you will have to come and collect it. My dad said, I cannot come and collect it. He said, you'll have to. He said, I can't. Bye. Thank you. I don't want it. Dying. Down with the phone. And there went my drum kit.
You were listening to this conversation?
Yes, I was there. Because those days was landline, right?
Yeah.
And that was it. He just slammed the phone down and said, I don't want the drum kit. Bang. He slammed it and he left. And that was me, no drum kit.
Oh my God.
So I was in Mount Abu. So then the easiest thing was to pick up the guitar. And that's how the guitar started.
Well, so we have to actually thank that drum kit not arriving.
Yes, probably. Never know what I'd do otherwise. But sure, I mean, that was a key turning point to why I picked up the guitar in the first. But the guitar was always at home. So if you see, I released something called The White Album. I've done music for everybody. I've done nothing for Leslee Lewis, the artist.
So true. Everybody's heard your music, yes, whether they know it or not.
But I've composed whether Pari Hu Main, Janam Samjha Karo, Yaro Dosti, Pal, all these are my songs.
Of course.
So, but I'm helping other artists create themselves with my compositions and my production and my music. But I've done nothing for Leslee Lewis. Even with Colonial Cousins, there's two of us doing our thing, and it's always Indian classical and this other thing. So Indian classical is a big part of the mix because Hari is that.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, there's so much other stuff I do that I want to do. So I said, it's time that I picked up my guitar and started doing what I want to do for myself. So I released an album called The White Album. And it's probably, and let me say this because Pari Hu Main got released in January 91. And only 3 years later that people turn around and say, hey, have you heard this song? It's amazing. And I said, yeah, but that's released 91. You're 93, you're telling me, have you heard this song? So it's a late starter. Colonial Cousins, we were ready in 94 to release the album. Nobody released it. ये क्या है? अच्छा गजल पॉप है क्या? हरिहरन and Leslee Lewis हो गए. अच्छा कृष्णा, अच्छा भजन pop है. अरे bro, listen to the music. So they didn't release it from 94 to 96.
Wow.
And in 96, when it got released, the public said, wow, what is this? All this while that the people behind, which is the system that of the music system, said, we don't understand this, so how to release this? And when it got released, it was like,
it didn't fit into any box.
Yeah,
neatly.
so they didn't know how to market it. So it became like, so what do we, this is like too ambient. But when it came out, the public went crazy. Sani Dhapa and Krishna.
Absolutely. We had that, I think it was Magna Sound. The label
Magna
at that
Sound.
Time, right?
Yeah.
Those pillow book covers they used to have.
But they were waiting for Warner Brothers to release this.
Okay.
So they sent it to Warner Brothers. And I was sitting in the office that day. Atul Churamani from Magna Sound was across the table. And those days we had fax. There was no email.
Yes.
So that fax machine at that time only rolled out this one piece of paper. Came, he picked it up, he read it. And then he just passed it across the table to me. And it said, from Warner Brothers, says, great album, fabulously produced, but what is it? And they didn't release it.
My God.
So we sat till 96. And in 96 is when the public heard it. But then, 2 years later, maybe if it came out in 94, who knows? It would have just gone away. So in the same way, the White Album has come out, I think it's one of the most beautiful romantic albums that you're going to find in the market today. There is no album like that. 6 songs, completely romantic, but completely different from each other.
And people can listen to it on Spotify?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you have to listen to it in your shant state. It's called, you guys don't need to be in a shant state. Because around here, everybody's already in the white state. So that's what we call the White Album. Apne white state pe aana hai aapko. And listen to it, whether you're driving, but not with other things going on. And it's just pure romance. And one of the songs called Tere Bina Love, I got a certificate from radio. It's called Air Check. It happens, they're checking every 2 weeks. It says across top 20 songs across all radio stations from week so-and-so to week so-and-so, first 1 week or 2 weeks, top 20 songs across all radio stations in India. Your song, Tere Bina Love, enters at number 1.
Wow.
Enters at number 1. I mean, that's like the most shocking news without marketing, without publicity. 2 weeks later, I get another one. From week so-and-so to 2 weeks after that. From week so-and-so, you're across top 20 songs across all radio stations in India. Your song, Tere Bina Love, maintains its position at number 1.
Wow.
And you've got all the Bollywood films, you've got all the other labels, everyone behind you. How is that possible? So you know that there is a divine intervention.
Absolutely.
And people haven't got it yet. Like a Parum hai. They will. The Pasa on Us, what a fabulous song in there. I mean, there's one Aadhi Raat Whiskey or two. I mean, it's like just amazing, but they need to experience it enough to it's like bitter chocolate, you know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying? You
It's
can't
an
love it on the
acquired taste,
first,
yeah.
yes. You can't love it on the first go.
Yeah.
Unless you're in that mood to say, okay, I'm going to try something different and I'm open to it.
Yes, absolutely.
So that white state you need to be in. But then so that is like 6 romantic songs. The next 6, and the first one is just rock, blues, all the things I haven't done for Leslee Lewis, which I want to do as a 17-year-old. So now I'm actually 2024, I'm 24 years old. That's the way I look at myself.
Wow.
And the first song, it's a straight out classic rock vibe. But all these songs I have composed. And I have written the lyrics in Hindi. First time ever.
Amazing.
I've never written a song in Hindi before. And everyone wants to know who wrote the lyrics. And I'm saying, and it's not like, you know, how awesome the lyrics. And I couldn't be a Javed ji or a Gulzar ji. I'm not a poet. But I'm just communicating. I want to say something to you in Hindi, and I think as me the artist, I want to say something that I want to say, and it's kind of, you know, translating instantly. Comprehension is instant. You don't have to think kya bola, acha uska. I got it. So whatever I'm saying. So the first song out of this next lot, which is called Phir Se Rock and Roll, is the name of the album. Spotify has put it, playlisted it. Apple Music has playlisted it. Jio7 has given me 3 playlists. And it's got some great, amazing songs coming up. So, you know, from my perspective, Leslee Lewis, the artist, now needs to get out there. And the spiritual side of me will always hang around because it's been there from forever.
Absolutely.
As far as I know. So that's what I'm doing for myself. And still, I'm doing music for everybody else. That won't change.
Lovely. Really looking forward to what all is coming, and it's such a lesson to, you know, follow your heart. Actually,
I don't have a plan B. I have only one heart.
Yes,
and I am a one who follows my heart. I let my mind do the talking, and I'll pick up things what the mind has to say. But at the end of the day, you know. And the heart will take you on its ups and downs.
Sure.
So you go with it. But
it's not an easy ride.
It's never been an easy ride. I don't think any artist who's worth his salt has said, oh, I just picked up my first song and then I've been an amazing artist ever since. No. All the artists that connect to people, that people connect with, because they have that reality in their music or their painting or whatever art they're doing, they have great ups and downs. But unless you're passionate enough, and you've got to be crazy enough. At my time, nobody wanted to play music as a profession. They didn't want to do music. Nobody. It was like, acha, so what work do you do? I said, I play in the band at the Oberoi. Oh, you like music? Oh, very good. And so what work do you have? I said, no, I play in the band. I know you like music, but what work do you do? I said,
that didn't count as a profession.
I play in the band. That's what I do. That's my, acha, band wala. It was derogatory.
Yeah.
And that hit you. But you just lived with it, and you know, I used to get 50 rupees for a recording. Yeah. It's great, but you just did it. I mean, there were times when, as a professional guitar player, if I did an acoustic guitar, I was paid $100. And I'd probably make 98 rupees profit, because 1 rupee by train to go, 1 rupee by train to come in those days, and I could carry the guitar on my back, so it's cool. Electric guitar, I need an amplifier, I got paid $200, but the amp cost me $50 to hire. The taxi was $80 up and down. And to carry the guitar and the amp up 4 floors, they wouldn't allow it in the lift yet. The one guy would carry it. So you made 10 or $20, but all you wanted to do is play electric guitar.
Wow.
Because that will get heard. The acoustic guitar gets lost in the mix.
Of course.
So you got to be a little crazy and passionate. And money, of course, is absolutely required, especially in today's time, with all this mobile and internet, and you got to pay your bills, your rents. But if you only do it for that, I think, then the mind takes over.
So true. And were there ever times where you said, listen, I should just quit and do something else?
I've never thought that I should quit and do something else. I mean, what else? I could catch fish. I'm a fisherman. I love. I'm a hunting, fishing kind of guy because I grew up in the wild. But I couldn't make that my business. I mean, how will I survive? I don't know anything else. I never studied anything else. I mean, in that to make it your craft. The only thing I know is this, and the universe has kept me alive. I'm still floating. I'm still relevant today.
Absolutely.
I'm right out there, and my song's being playlisted today amongst all these young kids. And I'm just saying, watch out for Leslee Lewis because you haven't heard him. And his music is being composed by that guy in the 90s who composed Parum, Janam Sab Jagar. So he's on a good wicket. And he's been produced by that guy. But he sings so differently from everybody else that he's got his own vibe, his own thing. So in that sense, there are ups and downs but I feel if there is no up and down, then it's so clinical that you just get used to it. Then you get bored. It's all like a flat line.
Absolutely. So what was your early influences like? You said you were coming of age just at the time that electronic music was making its entry into.
Yeah, electronic music came a little later. Right in the beginning, like my dad. So if you look at the White Album, it actually has a photograph of me maybe a year old. There's a guitar in front of me. I'm playing a guitar because my dad had this guitar. Right now you're not seeing this chain around my neck, which you might find very often. I'll be wearing some jewelry. There is that jewelry around my neck. And it's the same guy with the guitar, 1 year old, the White Album. So obviously the guitar and these instruments have been around me from a young age. And I've constantly been influenced by all this stuff. It's just, I never decided that I'm going to do this. Sometimes, I don't know, you got to be blessed. I'm just a sutradhar. I'm not the creator. It gets created through me, fair enough. So I'm the physical creator over here. But how is it that one guy starts indie pop? How is that one guy starts Bollywood remixes?
Yeah, I mean, you did indie when indie wasn't even a thing.
Yeah. So I'm saying, so indie pop you're running the flagship of that, Pari Hu Main, and one of the first things that happened as indie pop starts, and then you're rolling the indie pop list after that. Bollywood remixes with Asha Ji, Piya Tu Ab To Aaja, Oh Meri. You start that thing.
I think Rahul and I,
absolutely.
It's an incredible album.
And then Colonial Cousins is Indian classical fusion with Hariharan as Colonial Cousins. Then Coke Studio. You roll the ball for Coke Studio. So why is this one guy? And now global Hindi. So now my new music for Leslee Lewis, I call it global Hindi. It's all global, but it's in Hindi. I want to talk to the Hindi guy. So that's how, when I was in school, everybody would bring their records because we were there for the whole year. Every year. So whatever records they brought, vinyls.
Kept playing those.
And then there was, Beatles come together and Eagles and Jimi Hendrix, and Cream, and you just go crazy about it. This amazing rocking sound, whatever that was. But the guys who didn't speak, who are not English based from their families, they're more Indian based. Ghar pe bhi Hindi bolte the or Marwadi or whatever. They would disconnect after a couple of, like that whole energy, they love. But they can't, purple haze last year, hey, excuse me while I kiss the sky. Up to there is fine. Uske baad samajh mein nahi kya kar raha hai. So they've lost it. And all the Bollywood songs they'd get, because Kishore Jha was singing it like so clearly and the words were very clear. And so they got it. So that was the culture. Then I realized that there's a whole lot of India sitting there that doesn't know beyond what they already know. And I know a lot more than what they know because I grew up with all that. My gharanas. So can I talk to them in Hindi? That's all. So it's global Hindi. So that's why I'm writing the songs myself in Hindi and talking to the Hindi guy saying, Bhai, iske aapne jo suna hai, uske alawa aur kuch hai. And there is magic in that. But I'll sing it for you in Hindi so you get it. And I think that's why the first song gets playlisted. You can see hey, this is a quirky, because the Hindi guys are getting it. Because I want to talk to India. I want to talk to tier 2. I want to talk to tier 3. Because tier 1 already has all of it. It's available.
So true.
So that's what got me in school to decide that, this is the kind of, the Hindi part came later, but in school, of course, just to pick up the guitar and in the 10th standard, I remember we were passing out. The principal asked everybody, okay, guys, so now, now you're going into the big bad world, the city. We are from a forest, right? Now you have
This
to go.
is the school in Mount Abu.
In Mount Abu, St. Mary's. And then he says, so what do you want to be once you get out? And it's the last few days of our existence there. Somebody says, I want to be a lawyer. Somebody says, I want to be an,
doctor, engineer.
Yeah, engineer, this, that. So came to Leslee. So Leslie, what do you want to be? And Leslie's so blank because, sir, I want to play the guitar. And the entire class laughed at me because it was like, this guy wants to play the guitar. He's nuts. And 40 years later, we had a school reunion. So out of some 42, 43 kids, 32 landed up. 40 years later, 30 odd kids landed up from across the world, including our class teacher.
Amazing.
Most amazing.
Amazing.
And the first thing they all told me, hey man, we knew you were going to make it. I said, don't lie. You guys all laughed and I still remember it. I haven't forgotten that.
Wow.
So somewhere, that fighting the grain and still doing what you want to do, because even if they laugh at you, it's okay.
Absolutely. And it's such a indie pop. I mean, we didn't even have a word for it. We didn't have indie music as a word at that time when you were doing it. And it's a tough gig because it's the headlines are all going Bollywood's way.
Yeah, absolutely.
The big bucks are going Bollywood's way.
Yes.
They are getting paid like thrice the amount for gigs.
Way more than thrice. 300 times
300
probably.
times the amount for gigs. How do you retain that enthusiasm ke boss mujhe karna hai?
It's called Atma Vishwas. If you believe it in your heart that this is what you want to do, and I know that it's going to happen. I mean, that much you got to believe, and you got to leave it to the universe. People don't leave it. No, I've left it. No, whatever, I'm ready. But at the end, I want to know how. But when? I said, bhai, chodo na. Chodne se you can fall forever. But when I'm going to stop falling, I don't know. Enjoy the ride. And nobody wants to enjoy the falling ride because you're going down, and it's like now getting stress. And it's physically a lot of things to deal with. So from my perspective, if you just need to roll with it and you got to be passionate. I think anybody who's seriously passionate, you'll be a little crazy. Then you have a chance of surviving. Otherwise, the plan B will come into place. At some point, saying, ye nahi chal raha hai, bhai, I want to leave this and switch to something else. Maybe in the same field or another field. But if you're going to stay forever, it's been a tough ride. Nobody even thinks, you might be legendary, you might be whatever, but that's my work. That's what you're talking about. And I'm saying you haven't seen it yet. Because if you're calling me a legend, I said, wait till I call myself a legend. I need to get there. And that's going to happen because there is amazing content that I think nobody's heard that they need to hear. But it's a process. You can't just put everything out on one day. There's so much to go through. People can't. There's just too much information out there.
Yes.
So you need to do it slowly.
So is your best song always the last song you've recorded?
I've never considered any song as my best song. In fact, there's some fabulous songs I haven't released yet. But which one is the best? I don't know. I think what works for you is the best. So somebody loves Kaizala. They think it's the best song. But like if they hear something like Jeena, mujhko sikha. हाँ sir, अच्छा है, लेकिन वो sir, for somebody says sir Krishna, somebody says Yaro Dosti. Each one finds their best slot. But for me, I still haven't come across, this is the best song. If there's a best song that I would say that I've ever done, there's a song I wrote in English when I was kind of just end of school thing. And it's very dark. It's very dark. And it's about you. And then I said, nobody's going to listen to this because it's in English. So I rewrote it in Hindi. Not the same tune, but has it become more powerful? It's not funny. Like I said, I've never written a Hindi song, but now that I've written in Hindi, it's awesomely powerful. But that is the song I can say is me. And it's called Akela. Akela chal raha hai, manzil खींच रहा hai. So that's the journey. And that song will come out when it comes out. Till then, it's me singing it at home when I'm in that low space, or I can't say it's a low space. It's kind of reorienting yourself that you are alone. Maybe you've done all this, but you're the single guy, singularly chosen. And you have to live it out.
Do you enjoy playing music more or listening to music?
At one time, I was crazy about listening to music. And I think that's where I learned a lot. I've probably bought every bit of money I've had, I've spent on buying more music, CDs, albums, cassettes. I've just gone and I've listened to all kinds of music. So I just love music. So for me, anything that gets me interested, I just keep saying, Bollywood has these fabulous songs. And then you realize that so many Roshan songs there. I say, why is he not getting credited for being such a fab composer? Hrithik Roshan's grandfather.
Yes.
Bro, some fabulous melodies. And, instantly likable. But maybe he didn't market himself. Who knows? I don't know. So I'm saying, for me, I don't know who's done it. I didn't know whether Lata Mangeshkar sang it or Kishore Kumar. Yeah, I kind of, after a while, it's Kishore Kumar, you know that voice. And it's Lata ji. But otherwise, who's the composer, who's the lyric writer? I don't know. I love the song. And then as I grew up, as I got into it, then I had figured out that, so-and-so wrote this, and that was Madan Mohan ji, and you got to know the composers better. And then, of course, I worked with Majroor Sultanpuri ji for Janam Samjha Karo, the whole album with Asha ji. So that's like working with another legend who's another mindset. And like he was telling me, he's like, we came up with words. This RD wanted to do we're having chai in some restaurant, just, hanging out. And he said, so they came up with the word Jane Jana. So koi to Hindi mein word hai nahi Jane Jana, but we invented it.
Wow.
It's probably the most used word, Jane Jana.
Yeah. I mean, I would think it's a word that's been around for ages.
They coined it.
Wow.
He coined it. He said okay, so it sounds funky, cool. So he's always told me, lyrics important nahi hai. I said, uncle, aap kya bol rahe? He said, lyrics important hai, but lyrics se important uska sound hai.
Feel hai.
Uska phonetic hai. Like ta ta ta, that's the tune, and I'll sit with the lyric writer, whether it is Rajesh Johri ji or Mehboob or whoever I've worked with, some fabulous people, and ta ta ta, I'll give and he'll write aata hai or aata tha, correct. So I said, nahi, wo theek nahi, meter to wahi hai. Kumar is a great example of a guy who's been so fluent and so, I did a whole Assamese album with him. But I said, you have to write it in Hindi. And I don't want the Hindi guy to feel कि कुछ आपने थोप दिया है. Hey, I can be Adila Bape, I can be Adila Bape, I can be Ad. आज कहने भी ना दिया बातों को आज कहने. समझ गया?
Amazing.
That's Kumar. So working with some of the best people, I've learned that ta ta ta, he's written आता था, ऐसे नहीं वो आया है, नहीं देखो टाटा वो तो आता था, चले ऐसे, पर उसका फील जो है ना, फिनेटिक्स का
जो साउंड का फील,
जो वर्ड्स की जो साउंड है, आया हूँ, आता था is very different from, you feel different when you hear that as when you,
it's like
so depending what the song if the song requires आता था, it's great,
but
if it's आया हूँ,
It's so much softer. It's
Yeah,
so,
so that's what Majru Saab told me. He said the lyrics are important, but it's not as important as the sound.
how it sounds.
Yes, the sound is what is going to grab you or not. And so Jane Ja just sounded great, and they wrote it. And
Unbelievable. Of course, the wakao is like,
yeah, wow!
who can get over that?
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
that's just the guitar wah-wah pedal.
yeah.
You know, the when you play a guitar,
Yes.
and there's this wah-wah pedal. Wow! You know,
Yes.
and that's RD copying that sound of the guitar with the wah-wah pedal. And you know, and now I have this friend of mine, Gaurav Sharma, who's formed a band. He heads radio, you know, Nasha and Fever, but he's got his own band called Wakao. Yes.
Wow. Incredible. And also this thing must have come in very handy because you've composed so many jingles that people probably don't even know that you've composed, and they are such earworms that they are stuck in your ear, you know, because just of the sound of them. There's the Amul. I think Taste the Thunder is also.
Yeah, so many. I mean, I've just done so many. I've done music for practically every brand in this country. I mean, primetime commercials. And, you know, whether it's an anthem, whether it's a jingle, whether it's some sort of musical thing, I've done a lot of work in advertising, especially because it's about 40 years of advertising. So many brands. Or yeah, I'm not talking about the new brands that have landed up now, but classic stuff that's been there for years. Because that's all I did. I mean, that was my bread and butter. That was my job. Let's put it that way. But I loved it. And, you know, I had some fabulous, producers and who let you do your thing. Shantanu Shore, I wanted the chorus to come in and said, it should be a female chorus. And okay, let's record it. And we record it. I take it home and I said, go back and say, Shantanu, that chorus is not sounding good. I think those singers were not the ones that could make it. Can I read a bit again? That means it's going to cost you again.
Yeah.
And today, it's fine. Okay, nikal gaya. That time, okay, yeah, if you want to do it again, yes. I'll get the budget to do it again.
Wow.
So that kind of support from the team that you're working with, you know, and I will give Shantanu Shore a great credit for my jingles to stand by me at a time when I was Louis Banks' assistant. So everybody knew me. So when I kind of told Louis that I'm going to start doing jingles on my own, and I love Louis, he's my mentor. And I was completely stuck with Louis. I mean, I've been his right-hand man, like for 4 years, every day, 3 jingles a day, kind of
Incredible.
2 to 3 jingles a day, every day. We just like, so I learned so much on the job. So when I went off on my own, everybody knew me because I was working with Louis. I was the right-hand man, but they dare not work with me because Louis might get upset. Like, why are you working with now you're working with somebody who used to work with me. I mean, it's a human thing, and I get it. So they were like kind of, not, and it's only Shantanu who stood up, and I saw that brief that came from Alec Pradhamsi from Lintas saying the music will be by Louis Banks, and he says, no, I'm the director, I'll decide. I'm using Leslee.
Incredible.
And that is the 3 tracks we did for Vimal. The first time you might have seen Vivian Richards
Yes.
dancing by the pool, Alan Border playing cricket playing golf, and Ravi Shastri becoming a rock star. You know, that rose in the jacket.
Yes.
And it was fully rocking. No, it was meant to be only music, background music, and there was a voiceover. You know, put the best. What
the best a man can. No,
put the best to rest. Whatever. It's only Vimal. That's Pratap Sharma is supposed to do that voiceover, and I came for the edit. He called me, come and see the edit. So I came thinking what kind of music I'm going to, and I just composed it there. I said, like, what if he sang this instead of? He said, okay, let's do it. His brief from the agency is not about a jingle. It's a background score to a voiceover. He said, let's record it. That just became the thing. So that kind of support, you know, whether it was a Louis Banks who supported me with doing jingles, whether it's a Nandu Bhende in the rock scene, whether it's Gussie Rick, whether it's, you know, all these people who have been there in your growing up space have all become pillars of what you are today. And no one person is less than the other. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It's a very different world. You've seen this world change, you know, like you mentioned the support.
And I'm going to change it again.
Awesome.
Leslee Lewis, the artist, is going to change it.
Awesome.
For the simple reason that I love change. As you, in my history, you can watch me. So Global Hindi is here, and it's not change for the sake of change. I think you're going to love the change.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We totally look forward to that. And thank you so much for taking this time out and sitting here with us. I just wanted to touch on a conversation that we were having before we started recording, where you spoke about your growing up in Mount Abu, in the school in Mount Abu, and how nature has been an important part of your life. We all know Bombay is like a great place, but it's maximum city where there's hardly any time and all that. So what do you do to kind of relax, recharge?
So, see, I saw karvandas on the bushes from flowers turn to little baby karvandas that grew up and then grew up. It took time. By the time they grew up, and then they had to ripen, and then it became from green to purple to till they dried up and fell off, or we ate them. It is a process. So one thing I've learned that in life, whatever I'm doing, it's not going to happen instantly. It's going to take time. When is it going? I don't know. It's going to happen. Is it going to ripen tomorrow? I don't know. This particular fruit might take 3 days longer than that one to ripen, because the last one ripened 1 day. So life is like that. As you go ahead, the way I see it is, from being in a natural surrounding, all I've learned is to take your time with nature. And if music is part of your nature, then you're going to have to take time with it. And it will happen at its own pace. But don't lose the essence. You got to keep feeding the plant. It still needs water. It still needs for that fruit to grow. So keep listening to music that, I don't listen as much as I used to, because there's so much out there, and it's not curated.
You just can't.
It's not curated at all.
Yeah.
Unlike before. So, and the curation that happens now is not necessary. It's more market driven. So I still try and listen as much as I can. But for me, having learned all that, that's what I put it forward. I have a young artist called Kavya Jones, who I'm promoting, and she's probably got the opportunity to be the next big thing if she wants to, but you're going to have to work at it. When is it going to happen? I don't know. We'll have to ask the plant when that fruit is going to ripen. So all these things, I've learned to take it in my stride, because I grew up in Mount Abu, and because I grew up in the forest and I watched it happen. How the summer and then winter and then spring, and you see the seasons change. And there's a song called Everything Must Change, and young become the old, and so it will change. So even if you're feeling down, it's never going to stay like that forever. It's going to change. So Mount Abu's taught me a lot, I think, and connecting to India, the heart of India. It's a tier 3 town. It's not even a tier 2 town. So you're talking, you're interacting with, pure bheels in the forest, playing a Ravan Hatha with his goats. And you're sitting under a tree somewhere listening to real folk music by real people, And so those things have all influenced me into becoming who I am. But when I need to relax, I think I either go back to some of the older music that I might have done, not just sometimes even what I did, or something that I grew up with, or things that I think is awesome, which is missing today. Or maybe I'll just run off to Mount Abu and just take a look at the hills and say, okay, I'm home.
You still go back often?
Yeah, I try. It's probably the only place, because I grew up there from, once I see the flora, fauna, and the rocks and the granite, and I say, okay, there is a subconscious shanti that happens. It's not, you don't become a shant person, but at a subconscious level, I think you just relax, and then you start feeling okay. It's all fine.
Absolutely. Nature has that healing power.
Yes.
So what is on your playlist? I'm a little curious. What is on your playlist?
All Leslee Lewis stuff that you've never heard before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my whole band is crazy about it. Most people who've heard the stuff that will come out, my whole band is actually more together with me now, not because they get a lot of work or whatever. They've seen the future. And they're saying, sir, when is this going to come out? And now all they want to play is the new stuff that I'm releasing. And so the excitement is, they have heard the new stuff. I'm saying once the audience gets to hear it, there will be probably a newer thing. But for me, I love listening to the songs that I've composed, saying, hey, this is such a great, not because I did it. Like when Shankar's 50th birthday, there's a house in Karjat. So the party was there. And I kind of left a bit early for whatever reason. And I drove back from Karjat to Bombay. I played 35 Leslee Lewis songs back to back. Grooving. I'm listening to this artist called Leslie. And I still have so many left by the time I reached home that I hadn't played. So I'm saying there's a lot of content that I want to share with the rest of the world. Unfortunately, can't do it all in one dump and put everything because people will lose it. It's time, raat gayi, baat gayi kind of thing.
True.
So as it evolves, that will happen. And I'm looking to perform all over the world, to connect. And that's what I tell people. I said, in the 90s, you saw me, right? You saw me on TV, but I didn't see you. And you guys have made me a star today. I am a star today because of your support. You're still my fan from the 90s, or even the young kids who are hearing the new stuff now. But today I am because of the people of the 90s who put me up there, saying he's awesome, whatever. Now at every concert I get to see these people. And I say, that's my good fortune that I'm getting to see the people who actually brought me up to where I am. Yeah, that I'm a good artist, I was that at home also. But to be a celebrity artist, that you made me. And it's my joy to see you guys, to see who are these people who actually supported me and brought me to this level, in a public space. So performing live is a great thing because I really meet so many of them. And I think that's the future of travel the world, meet all the fans.
No fishing trips?
I will find the time to do that. Right now, it's because fishing and everything just kind of went out of the way. Because this is my 5th reinvention of myself. First time was a professional guitar player. So I started with nothing. I used to play on the street, Ganpati Pandal mein on the road. From there till being a pretty sought after guitar player, fall sessions, and I left it. So as a guitar player from nothing to the top of the space, and I kind of left it because I didn't want to continue playing guitar and I want to compose. And when I started composing Jingles, they said, he's a very good guitarist. You should call him for your jingle, but I don't think he can compose. So, nahi milte, then Jingles started, and then I got to have done practically every primetime commercial, and they said, he's such a fantastic jingle composer, you must buy him only. So then I said, Jingles to 15 seconds, 30 seconds se aage nahi ja raha. I want to do a song. And then they said, no, he's a very good jingle composer. I don't think he composes songs and all. That's a different thing. And then but you get nothing. They don't let you do it till you stick at it. And then you get a Pari Hu Main. Then you get Janam Samjha Kar. And then say, oh, he's such a good composer. Wow. So then you become a pop music producer. So and then you go ahead and then you say, hey, let's form a band. And they say, no, I don't think, he's a very good producer. I don't think he can sing. So then from nothing to right at the top of the space is Colonial Cousins. So as a guitar player, as a jingle composer, as a pop music producer, and as a band, Colonial Cousins, I've done it from nothing to the top of the space. I mean, Colonial Cousins, I've got the Billboard Awards, I've got Mariah Carey in the next room.
Huge. That was huge.
I've performed the same stage as Celine Dion. I'm getting my, music awards in Radio City Hall. I'm the only artist to perform on the original MTV Unplugged in London. There's nobody else.
Yeah.
You have Seal, George Michael, Colonial Cousins.
You were the first Indian to perform at MTV Unplugged. Nobody's performed after
Never.
that. Incredible.
All the other MTVs have been in India. The original one that happened, we were invited for that. So as a guitar player, jingle composer, as a pop music producer, and as a band, I've done it from nothing to the top of the space. Now, as a singer-performer, is the new journey. So
Absolutely.
That's where you're going to hear new songs, more performance, more. And I'm enjoying the ride, actually.
Fantastic. And it's great for everybody else because they get to listen to this amazing stuff also.
No, and I'm really happy when they come to listen because I believe one thing, today recorded music is fab, but the experience
of live music.
Yeah. That experience, because if you see all the artists, they say play the same songs every night. they're not playing different songs every
Yeah,
night.
you could listen to it on Spotify.
Yeah, that's a
if you
Shreya
want.
Ghoshal concert or a Sonu Nigam concert. You only hear roughly their repertoire, and that's what you hear.
Actually.
But every night is a different concert. Why? Because the people change. And it's when, but if you heard the album, heard the records or the music recorded, it sounds the same. After some time, you've heard it. But just every night, it becomes a little different. So the experience of live, I think, is the future. And that's really where I'm at, you know.
Absolutely. And we are fortunate to be looking forward to this evening, actually. We have that.
Yeah, it's for me, it's not just one more. I think it's very special because it's a special event. You can see it. It's doesn't happen. It's like you were telling me earlier, it's all happened in 1 month. How did you do this? I don't know. This is huge. And everybody from all over the world. And then to come and sing a song that I have composed, Krishna, for everybody, makes me feel special that, you know, I'm still singing my own song. And the fact that, you know, that question in my head saying, is this the start of your spiritual concert journey, which you've always thought that you would do, besides the other, you know, rocking gigs or whatever you do? That's commercial, but at a spiritual level, when you do those concerts, maybe this is my first one. So it's a landmark for me tonight.
Absolutely. And we are very sure it won't be your last spiritual concert. There will be many, many more to come.
Thank you
so much. And thank you for taking this time out.
It's a pleasure. Absolute. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of GhanaCast. Do subscribe to GhanaCast on YouTube, Instagram, and Spotify. Until the next episode, from the entire GhanaCast team, namaste and goodbye.